country can make progress or development without giving priority to education.
It makes possible all developmental achievements. As such, there is need to unleash the potential of the human mind, and there is no better tool for doing so than education. It is for this reason, and on this note, that I want to passionately appeal to the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, to find a way to amicably resolve the issues relating to the lingering ASU strike for the benefit of our teeming youths and the educational sector. The Institute, as the conscience and moral compass of the banking and finance industry, is resolute and committed to the observance and maintenance of ethics and professionalism among practitioners in the industry.
They are bond. The relationship between CIBN and the Federal Polytechnic Nekede dates back to 2015, when the Memorandum of Understanding for the linkage program was signed. Since then, we have continued to encourage our students to leverage on this opportunity to become chartered bankers. As a result, in 2020, Federal Polytechnic Nekede was rated the best linkage institution in Southeast.
It's something like this that we want for our country, that those who have opportunity and leadership in our country must think about value, adding value wherever you are. I think that is very critical, that's very important, because today the CIBN has added value to the Nekede Polytechnic.
Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has said the country under President Muhammadu Buhari is great because since the inception of the administration, many things have changed positively. He disclosed this in Yola when he visited the APC delegates to canvass for their support ahead of the presidential primaries. He said at the moment the country needs serious leaders that will make Nigeria greater and take over from the good works of the President Buhari.
There are so many things we can do. We all need to focus and be determined to be a great contributor to the development of our country. Killing doesn't kill problems, because poverty has no tribal mark. Hunger has no tribe. It is only God Almighty that can give you the blessings and the protection that you desire. It's through hard working and belief in God that you can achieve your goal. This country has all the potential to be great. But we cannot say potential by mouth. We have to work towards it. We have to choose leaders with intelligence, capacity, courage, and perseverance.
Meanwhile, the Director General of the Tinubu Support Group, Abdul Mumin Jibrin, has dumped the APC. He announced this via his Twitter handle, and he said he will announce his new party as soon as possible. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar says Nigeria has been wallowing in disunity because the APC government has been unfair to all parts of the country. Atiku stated this in Abeokuta, Ogun State, while addressing the PDP delegate ahead of the presidential primaries. Meanwhile, he promised to unite Nigeria by giving every part a sense of belonging, tackle insecurity, and implement his economic development blueprint towards transforming the country.
Because the APC government has not been fair to all parts of this country. And I promise to unify this country I promise to give a sense of belonging to every part of this country. We have done it before in 1999. When we came, there was also a lot of disunity, but not as bad as this. But the first thing we did was to make sure that we form a government of national unity. And that gave us the calmness and the unity we needed to govern. As long as the country is not united, as long as there is no calm, as long as there is no peace, you cannot govern, even in your own home. Not to talk of a complex country like Nigeria, which is multi-ethnic and multi-religious. So I promise to give every part of this country a sense of belonging.
What Nigerians need, what the youths need, is not money, but an environment, an opportunity for them to have sustained livelihood. And that is what Atiku is giving that others are not talking about.
Consensus where practicable is good, but where it is not practicable, we should all go to the field. Now we should leave our analog mentality of rotation or zoning. We should go become a meritorious society where the best will always have it. And Nigerians, this time more than ever in our lives, need to put the best foot forward. And Atiku is the best foot for now.
We have never witnessed.
A former governor of Osun State, Bisi Akonde, says the Southwest is united and will work to produce Nigeria's next president. He made the comment while speaking to journalists at the end of a meeting of presidential aspirant of the All Progressive Congress APC from the Southwest. Akonde said it was agreed that the aspirant should shun division and go about their campaigns with maturity.
Headers of the APC caucus in the Southwest, to let you know that we are having, a reason to let you know that we are united on purpose. And the purpose is to ensure that the presidency of Nigeria in 2023 will come to Southwest. Thank you very much.
Language. So, can we ask questions?
No question, except to tell you that all of us must talk to ourselves and to the public with absolute decorum, because we are united.
A former lawmaker representing Rivers Southeast at the Senate, Senator Magnus Abe, has said that the time to beat on him as the right choice to become the leader of Rivers State of their dream is now or never. Senator Abe made the disclosure while addressing his supporters and the All Progressive Congress faithful at the Captain Elechi Polytechnic, Port Harcourt.
The gathering was to draw more support for his governorship ambition and the presidential bid of Bola Ahmed Tinubu ahead of the fast-approaching APC primaries. Abe, who said the party cannot win the election in the state in 2023 if it presents an outsider as its candidate, urged the people to consider the interest of the state first before making their choice on who can win the election for the party and not on tribal sentiment.
So I am talking to our brothers from Kalabari. I am talking to our brothers from Andoni. I'm talking to our brothers from Opobo. Do not let anybody use your head to pursue their own thing. Time has come for us to take a decision that will place our own interests first. In doing so, we must pick a candidate for Rivers APC that is sure to deliver the brick house to the party.
The former lawmaker explained further that he joined the APC with the hope that things would be better for Nigeria and the citizens, and that his support for the APC national leader, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for president in 2023 is because he has what it takes to deliver for the party and develop the country. Another former lawmaker, Senator Wilson Ake, and other APC stakeholders said the party cannot afford to gamble again concerning the governorship election in the state.
I am supporting Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu. And the reason I am supporting him is simple. I looked at all those who want to run. I looked at all those who claim they have done this and that. And I saw that Asiwaju is the person in the APC that can deliver that killer punch that will keep the party in power after Buhari.
You cannot gamble without your vote during the primary. Don't gamble with it. I'm appealing to every APC member, wherever you are, to use that vote, to use that support wisely this time.
Our organic brothers respectfully elected for the Ejo brothers. Didn't it happen? Now we say governor should go to River South East. We say Ogoni should wait again. Let another tribe take again. So when will it be the turn of Ogoni to be governors of River State? What is fair is fair.
I also preach the good news of the Jagaban of Africa, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for President 2023. Students are not pushovers. Students can make changes in society. You agree? The ball is in your court.
Abe promised to form a government that will not only be centered on APC supporters, but on every Nigerian who reside in the state.
A Lagos-based chartered accountant and APC chieftain, Adebola Sofela, has declared his readiness to represent his people as a senator representing Ogun Central Senatorial District. Sofela, during a public declaration in his country home, Owode, says he was motivated to join the Senate race because of his desire to be a better position to impact his people. While appreciating the efforts of past representatives the district has produced, he assured the people that he will bring his professional savvy and experience to legislative business in the National Assembly with promise to maximize empowerment across the senatorial district.
During the period of my visit and consultation, of course, I found out that the rules are not good. So we need to have access to the market. Farmers that are harvesting their crops or produce need to be able to get to the market on time so that they can also maximize their returns. So the first thing is that there must be access to the market. The second thing is that we must also be able to improve on their implements and tools. We are doing so much of manual farming. There must be mechanization, and this is by providing them with tools, with machinery, with tractors that will be able to help them to cultivate large acreage. The second thing is that we need to provide for them things like fertilizers, implements, insecticides, so that even when they are actively engaged in farming, right, insects, pests, and other things does not destroy their product. The other thing is that we must be able to provide some level of preservation, even if it's at the local level. Providing freezers will be able to help, and providing like vans that will be able to store their products so that they'll be able to maximize their returns and there will be no wastages.
As political parties put price tags on presidential forms for aspirant, Nigerians react to this amount. And that's on our Street Views. Take a listen.
As a people, these are things that we need to take into consideration when making our choice of a party to support or the candidates to support, because there is consequence to such things being put in place. You don't expect someone that pays a huge price and buys from his pocket to actually then not want to recoup that money. Where do they get such money from to buy just a form where it's not guaranteed you're going to win? So, as citizens, we need to be watchful of that and make our decisions.
It's not ideal, especially if you look at what's going on in the country now. 100 million is a lot of money. I don't want to use the word absorb, but it's a lot of money. And the consideration is, for me, is what's the basis? How did you come about 100 million? I think the other parties are doing 40 million, 35. Even 10 million is a lot of money, given the fact that we're looking for a leader now who doesn't necessarily have to have all the way to do financially, but a leader who knows what it is that the country needs or is expected of him.
They are making the money for the party. The party belongs to the money belongs to the party. So you can never say maybe it's wrong or it's right. Because even though they say it's a trillion. If you have the power, you do it, you pay it.
It doesn't make any sense at all. That's too much. At least should have been like 50,000 at least. Actually, that's too much. 100 million, no. 100 million, 100,000, I don't understand. 100 million, no, that's too much. No, it's too much. No.
If a Nigerian, an individual will bring out 100 million from his purse to buy for form to run for the presidency, meaning that he has trillions of naira in his account. Therefore, EFCC is supposed to go there and find out what is working. If you happen to buy the form too, what are you going there to do? You must bring your money back, put your interest before you think of others.
That's ridiculous. In fact, when I heard the news, and I'm wondering, where do they want like genuine people to actually get this kind of money? People that can afford it are people that are actually stealing. The other time, a certain man did a burial and EFCC invited him over to probe him because of the money he spent for the burial. So EFCC should also invite these ones that are able to buy these forms and then probe them and ask them where they got that money from, because you can't tell me it's not it's genuine. Even if it's genuine, when they enter now, they will want to steal and get back that money.
And to other parts of Africa, the president of the Ivorian National Assembly, Amadou Samaho, has died at the age of 68. The announcement was made by the Ivorian president, Alassane Ouattara. Samaho was a figure in Ivorian politics and a loyal supporter of President Alassane Ouattara. He was a founding member of the Resemblance of Republic. The President Ouattara's historic party in 1994, he had been on medical treatment abroad. And outside Africa, Afghanistan Taliban government ordered women to cover their faces in public. This is a return to a signature policy of their past hardline rule and escalation of restrictions that are causing anger at home and abroad. Details in this report.
Afghanistan's Taliban government ordered women on Saturday to cover their faces in public, a return to a signature policy of their past hardline rule, and an escalation of restrictions that are causing anger at home and abroad. A decree from the group's supreme leader said that if a woman did not cover her face outside her home, her father or closest male relative could face potential imprisonment or firing from state jobs. The group says the ideal face covering is the all-encompassing blue burqa, which was obligatory for women in public during the Taliban's previous 1996 to 2001 rule. Most women in Afghanistan wear a headscarf for religious reasons, but many in urban areas such as Kabul do not cover their faces. The Taliban has faced intense criticism from Western governments, but also from some religious scholars and Islamic nations, for limiting women's rights, including keeping girls' high schools closed. Nazar Qasimzada, a burqa seller in Kabul, requested that the Taliban be kind to their nation, since the Afghan people have suffered a lot in the past 40 years. The U.S. and others have cut development aid and sanctioned the banking system, pushing Afghanistan towards economic ruin. The Taliban claims that it has changed since its last rule. However, in recent months, it has brought in regulations limiting women's movement without a male chaperone and banning men and women from visiting parks together.
And in business news, the rising price of crude oil may lead to high inflation and slow growth across the world. The International Monetary Fund stated this in a new report titled Lower Oil Resilience Insulates the World from 1970s style crude shock. According to the IMF, the war in Ukraine and sanctions on Russia are causing substantial economic spillovers, notably for energy. And to some entertainment news, Timi, an actress, model, and daughter of a billionaire businessman Femi Otedola, has opened up on the reason she accepted the marriage proposal of her singer lover, Oluwatosin Ajibade, also known as Mr. Easy. On April the 10th, 2022, Otedola posted a video of the proposal which took place in London. In a recent interview, Timi stated that she feels a sense of peace when with Mr. Easy. Describing her engagement ring as rocky, Timi said that before she starts planning her wedding, she intends to enjoy being engaged. And in sports news, Tunisian Ons Jabeur won the second and most prestigious title of her career in Madrid on Saturday evening. Jabeur ranked 10th in the world, beating the 14th-ranked American Jessica Pegula 7-5, 0-6, 6-2, 2 weeks before the French Open, May 22nd to June the 5th. The Tunisia becomes the first Arab player to win a WTA 1000 tournament, the most prestigious category after the Grand Slam.
I feel like I can remember the other one, but I can remember this one very well. It's amazing, very happy. I'm glad that I got the win today. Didn't want to get disappointed again, to be honest with you. But we've been working very hard, and the match today was very difficult, and I'm glad that I pulled the win, and hopefully this will be the opportunity to win many more titles.
And after Saturday's win, Jabeur will climb to number 7 in the world on Monday, matching her best ranking from last November. 2 years ago, she became the first Arab player to reach the quarterfinals of a Grand Slam at the 2020 Australia Open. And that's the news brief. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. Many thanks for watching. I am Messi Bopo. There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from Plus TV Africa.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Countdown, let's say 3 to 4 days after, we were still running around the circle. It was more like we were not even leaving the environment because everywhere looked alike. So I just told my sister, even if we are going to the land of the dead, 4 days is enough for us to have gotten to where we are going. Are you sure there is no problem? Sister said, nothing, let's just endure. And then after a while, she will ask me, that thing you said is true. Even if it's land of the dead, by now we should have gotten somewhere that is close to the land of the dead that we are going to. No. And the funniest thing is, all these things was going on under a scorchy sun. Like, the sun was not friendly, very hot. There are no trees around. Everything is just blank, like you're just seeing only the soil. That sand is the only thing you're seeing. So you're not seeing anything that is going to give you hope. And then to worsen it all, you're seeing bones. If they park and say rest, the only thing you're going to see is probably bones from animals and human beings that have died. Some people will just, maybe like people who like playing, will just put their hand like as if they are packing sand, and then the next thing is bone. They will just scream, hey, see bone, oh. Everybody will run, you know. It was just, now I'm laughing, but then it was very traumatizing, like you see weird things only. So after that, we noticed that actually we were running in a circle. So the driver explained to someone that there were security persons around, policemen, that's the Niger police. So we are not supposed to pass them except they are not there. So we'll have to wait until those policemen are out. And then I think after a while, those policemen started getting really close. So the drivers left us. They fled for their lives. And then where they parked us was very hot. So we sat there, we were waiting for them to come back. Those security or policemen didn't even come where we were. But then we lost someone while struggling for water. There was no water. The drivers had already left. So I think the man's heart failed. He's not a young boy. He should be like around 50-something. So I think his heart failed or something. I don't even know what to say happened to him, but he was just lying down. Nobody had a clue that the man was already dead. So when the drivers eventually came back, they found out the guy was dead. They just did their Arab or Muslim ritual. Just did something, put their clothes, then used sand to cover the man, and that was all we left. You know, we all cried while leaving. People were singing sorrowful songs. And then after a while, the police caught up with us. But that part too was traumatizing for me because the drivers left again as usual. They started running. This time they were running and asking us to jump out of the hills. They were running with their cars. It's not like they are running, they parked somewhere and left. No, this time they were running with their cars and they were asking us to jump off the car. It was difficult for me to jump. I don't know, I'm slim, but I wouldn't say I'm athletic. So a lot of people were jumping out. It was hard for me. So, but at some point I jumped. I didn't sustain any injury as at then. But then when I was running, because of the nature of the place, there are thorns everywhere. The thorns kept piercing my leg and everything. No sandals. We already lost our bags in the car. I was just running alongside people. So the kind of race was, people are running towards this direction. As they are running back. People are running towards this, you join these ones. You know, everybody is trying to escape, but the security persons had already surrounded everywhere, and then with armored cars, I wouldn't have an idea if they were asked to shoot anyone, but they were shooting, kind of to threaten us to stay in one place, but people were still running, so the shooting continued, didn't stop. So while they were shooting, at some point, they are not shooting like randomly, like maybe releasing bullets often, but just once, just like that. So a lot of people were running towards a direction. I joined them. Anywhere they are running towards, I joined them, just like that. But then, at some point, my sisters already left me. I don't even know where they ran to. The guy that was supposed to be taking care of us also left. So I just stood somewhere, and then I said, if these people are going to kill me, let them just kill me. I was crying, like, God. I was crying seriously. I was saying, just kill me. If I just remember that moment, I'm like, God, if I could survive that, there is nothing that God can't save anyone from. I was crying. I was saying, just shoot me, just kill me, let me just die. What kind of suffering is this? I was crying, and then the guy stopped. And then he was like giving me signal to come closer, come closer. So when I got closer to them, the man said, enter this place. I entered. He gave me water. That was the first thing he did. So it was like, don't worry, no problem. So when he said that, don't worry, no problem, I just felt like, okay, then why is it that they are now chasing us? Is it like they want to save us? Is it like they want to help or anything? So at some point, they brought us together. They were able to they were able to gather as many people as possible, to the extent that we filled this big truck was filled with people. And then some hillocks too had to join in taking us to the police station. They brought books, we started writing our names. Everyone, write your name, write your country, write your name, write your country. Everyone, people were just writing their names and country. We did the same. So they brought us together. And then they told us, okay, they are going to take us somewhere. And then that's where we will sleep for the night. And then they will register us and return us to our country. But before then, a white man came to speak to us. So the man asked us where we are traveling to and why are we traveling. So many people were saying, I was just looking. So many people were saying, there's hunger in my country, they are killing us in my country, there's suffering in my country, there is this in my country. You know, a lot of people were saying their reasons for traveling. He wasn't asking personally, he was just asking the entire people who were there. And then they were filming it. So majority of us had to cover our face so that we don't get captured, but some people were really vocal, like saying so many things before the man addressed us and told us that he's been to Nigeria severally. And then he's been to most of the African countries too, that we have food, a lot of us have good shelter, particularly Nigerians. He kept hammering, particularly Nigerians, there is good food in your country. I've tasted this, I've tasted that. You know, he mentioned most of the meals, and then he told us that there is no cost for this kind of traveling. Do you even know where you're going to? Do you know if it's worth where you're going to and all of that? Then they took us somewhere. They put us together in a particular environment. And then a few days later, they came to tell us that we'll be leaving back to our country. So there was rumor everywhere. People were saying, I pity people that will go back to Nigeria. I just pity people that will go back to Nigeria. The kind of suffering they will go and suffer. Police is already waiting for them. My brother called me, said that there is news that they are bringing back people, that police is waiting for them. They will arrest them because they traveled without documents. So we were all scared. And then we decided to run away, majority of us. So at night, while the security guards were sleeping, majority of us started jumping out of the fence, and then somebody brought an idea to open the gate, you know, some kind of dubious act, which is not actually good, which wasn't good for us. But because of the kind of rumor, because of the kind of things we heard, we joined, everybody left. You know, we're still hiding. It's not like you're leaving and you're just coming out to say, I'm going. No, you're hiding from place to place, hiding until we got to a particular house. When we left, we got to a particular house. There were about 6 of us in a group now, no longer I and those my 3 people. They were with me. Those 2 sisters, that guy, the 4 of us were complete as at then. And then 2 other guys joined us. So the person that owned the house agreed to keep us in her house for that night. And then I think her husband came back and asked who where. She told the husband brought a driver. So none of us had an idea that we were sold. So the man sold us to the driver. None of us had an idea. We just thought the man helped us. You know, that was the idea in my head, like, God bless this man, oh, he finally helped us out of this place. So the driver took us, proceeded to somewhere they called Nitel. That was what they told us, that place is Nitel. So they hid us in their family house at first. Then in that their family house, we met their one of the sisters that had already gone to Italy before. The lady told us she can't speak English, so she had to use diagram to express herself. She gave a sign of water and then a sheep on the water, and then she told us how she was working there. She was washing clothes, that's probably doing dry cleaning or something like that. I don't know what she was doing over there, but me, I just assumed and then I told my sisters that means maybe she did house help work over there. So we had fun with them because they were nice people. I didn't figure out if they were among the people who bought us, but they were nice to us. They gave us food. That was the first place where I had to brush my teeth, have my bath, you know. It was a good treatment for us. So throughout the 4 days we were in their house, they treated us nicely. And then after a while, the driver came back. And then the driver told us that in a few days he will come and take us. This thing was already summing up to like 3 weeks already within the desert environment. A few days later, he came again and then he said, oh yeah, get ready. You'll be leaving this night. After a few hours, he came back in the night. And then they told us, everyone to lie down inside the hillocks, and then they sealed it. So they took us from there, took us to another garage. Then that garage, they had a lot of drivers now. It wasn't just him. So I think he was looking around for passengers, but didn't succeed that day. So he told us to stay in a particular room, don't come out till he comes back. 4 days later, he came back with food. He didn't take us out of there. After like 2 days, he came back again, came back with food. So I told my brothers that the food is not as if it's enticing. This guy has caged us here. Probably something will go wrong. Let's leave this place. So the man and then the other guy that was with us said, okay, let's leave. Okay, so if we leave now, where will we go to? I say, me, if I leave like this, I'll be walking down. I would want to see a policeman. They should take me back to Nigeria. What kind of suffering is this one? This place that they locked us for like 4 days. Not as if the house is very enclosed. That same breeze that was even blowing in the other place was still blowing and bringing sand. So that I'm not comfortable here. They said, okay, let's leave. We left. We met some drivers. Those ones, come. They served food, eat. Don't worry, we will take you. Libya, they are not even calling it Libya. They will tell you Libya. I'm like, I'm not going to Libya, me, Nigeria. No, Libya, like their own is, don't worry, we will help you anywhere you want to go to. That particular place you want to go to, we will help you get there, but you can't go back. So I told my brother that these guys are actually saying that they want to help us go back to go to Libya, but they can't help us go to Nigeria. My brother was like, we intended to go back to Nigeria before. We're going forward though, it's not backward. You know, after everything, we spent a few hours with those guys, no headway out. I told them they are not even ready to take us to Libya. Carried my bag. And it was more like that stubbornness was actually what saved us, because I don't even know what was their plan. But I just told my brothers, I'm not staying here 1 minute again. I'm leaving. So, because I was stubborn, they said, hey, if we leave you now, who knows what will happen to you? Oh yeah, let all of us keep going. They joined me. The drivers were offended. They were like, come back. We didn't answer. We left. Until we met these policemen. So one of the policemen just called us. And then my bro said, we are going to Libya. The man said, you don't have, like he was explaining to them, my bro, saying, you people don't have problem. I will carry you to where your brothers are, plenty. And then I figured out, okay, plenty Nigerians. And then I told my brother, if there is a place where a lot of people are, it's better than this place where it's just the 6 of us. So they took us from there to where a lot of Nigerians are. I met a lot of people. I felt a bit comfortable. There was not much space for the 6 of us, but we just had to like manage in that place where they kept us. And then we spent some days again there. So we were waiting for the drivers to come. They didn't come. And then after a few days, the drivers came. So they started calling, like they shared us into groups. this driver take this one, this driver take this one, this driver take this one. So then we're already approaching Libya. So they took us, it wasn't now up to 2 days, we got to Libya. So when we got to Libya, I think it was the border, the driver came down, he then asked us to pay a certain amount of money. He asked everyone to bring a certain amount of money, so that my brother helped us to pay ours, and then they took us from there. After paying that money, they took us from there, they just proceeded into Libya. We got to Saba. The driver called someone. That particular person they called came around, and the person told us that he's going to take this group somewhere. So they took that particular group. They were just taking people like in groups, in different groups. And then from that point, they took us to a particular man. The man is Igbo. So when we got to his house, the man looked at all of us, was like, the guys, this is your room. The girls, this is your room. So in that room where he said is for the girls, I saw a lot of ladies, even people that were younger than me were in that same room. So I was like, how did you guys get here? What is going on, you know? We started talking, a lot of Benin girls, they were just saying, welcome with this one, Jadid, welcome with this one. You know, Jadid means new person. You know, they were just saying a lot of things. And then at the end of the day, I got bonded to a particular lady that really shared her experience. Happened to be that she has not been able to pay her money. So when I asked her, she said 300,000. So we started getting information from the people within that if you're unable to pay your money, you stay there. So towards the evening of that same day, like around 5 p.m., the man came to assemble all the new passengers. All the new passengers come outside, we came out. He took us to a particular hall, asked all of us to sit on the floor. We sat down. He said, we are welcome. We answered. Me, I was even feeling comfortable, believing that this person is from my place, he's a Nigerian, so he should be nice, you know. So when he was about to tell us what Libya was, the first thing was a gunshot. In fact, for like few seconds, I couldn't recover from the shock. I had to hide behind our bros, like the whole of us just held him. The man said, everybody, oh yeah, this way. Like he had to like scatter us so that we don't get to communicate with each other. He had big boys. In fact, those big boys, if they handle one person, I'm sure the person will not survive it. So I was shaking. And then the man said, he just wants to let us know that we are in Libya now. And that now that you are here, he's giving us just a few hours to give him his money. He paid for us, he bought us. He was saying it like, you know, when someone is actually practically trying to pass a message across to you with everything he's got inside, the kind of anger, like I didn't offend this man before. But the way he was saying it was like, I'm just telling you that you have to pay this money within the space of so and so hours. If you don't pay it for the girls, you work and give me my money. For the boys, you die here. So the thing sounded somehow. We just had to like beg him, just allow us to discuss. We are from the same family. He said, okay. After a while, then my brother said, please give us your phone. You are begging in tears. If you're even asking for the phone, it's not up to like, they are not giving you to call. They are giving you to just say, I'm in Libya, please call me back. You can't use their airtime to inform whoever you are informing. Sorry. So at the end of the day, we were able to reach out to the people that invited us to France. Those ones said they would send someone to come and pick us in a few hours. We should be patient. We were there, we were waiting. After a while, I came to call down my bros. Your people, they disturb me with call. Your people, they disturb. If they disturb me again with call, now I go beat you, you know. We're hearing it from our own side, and I was like, is that not bros this person is talking to like this? You know, the fear was more. we pleaded, okay, can we talk to bros? So you have to plead to see a guy in that room. In fact, you're not even allowed to see a guy. They don't give you room to see any guy. So we're able to like talk to bros. How far? Did they call? He now asked for phone again to reach out to them. So he was able to get to them again, and then they sent someone across. So I think the person who was supposed to bring the money was now pricing lower than the 300. I think the person was now saying 250. That was where the anger came from. At the end of the day, the man came with the money. He paid 1 million for the 4 of us, and then took us from that place to his house. From his house, we moved. It's still within the, yes, still in Libya. So from that place to the sea coast, and the sea coast was not very easy for me as well. That from his house to the sea coast was also very traumatizing. And then at some point, I even had an experience where I was sleeping in a room. In that particular room was mixed with both guys and ladies. So there was this Sudanese that they brought into the room to join us, because initially it was with Ghanaians. So the Sudanese took a part of the room, we took a part of the room. And so in the night I was sleeping, I covered myself because I have this habit of using wrapper to cover myself from foot to head. And then there was this guy that I don't know, among the Sudanese, he crawled to where I was, tapped me. I woke up, I was like, what? The guy put his hand in his pocket, brought out 5 dinar. 5 dinar in their money is 500 naira, Nigerian naira, and was begging me like, I could not wrap my head around it. So I just screamed, and then the Ghana guy woke up first and was like, what is happening? You know, they started arguing amongst themselves, and at the end of the day, those Sudanese, they apologized on behalf of their brother, that they were sorry about what happened. Probably he just thought something different in his mind before bringing it, that they are sorry. So the whole thing was migrants abusing migrants, security agencies abusing migrants. The experience was just too hard for me. I had a case where someone was trying to communicate something to me that I should sit down in the vehicle, those long trucks. I didn't understand him. I don't know that GAMS means sit down. I'm just new in the environment. But this man had an idea in his head that any language he speaks or whatever he says, I should understand. So the next thing was, I don't know what he used in hitting me on my head. I was bleeding, and then somebody was saying, sit down, sit down. That's what he's saying, sit down. So I sat down, and then I noticed I was bleeding. And the lady was like, sorry, if I knew you were the one he was talking to, I would have told you to sit down. If you had sat down, the guy will not hit you. And then in most cases, for them to say sit down, they will have to shoot, you know, for you to sit down. At least the communication differences should have been understood by them, but the case was different. For them, when they communicate, you don't understand, they become violent. So it was really hard till we got to the sea coast, spent some time around the sea coast trying to cross, had people die. Someone died while giving birth. So had cases of people dying. A particular lady died trying to give birth because there were no professionals around, and then people claimed that in their countries they were professionals, they could help her give birth, they could help her deliver, you know. It was a sad experience. At the end of the day, she died, the baby died, and I just told myself, this one is just a wasted time, like wasted efforts. You're trying to get out of trouble, you get into more trouble. And even family doesn't know where you are because you can't even call them. I don't have access to any communication device. I can't reach anyone except maybe I'll have to pay someone to borrow his phone or have to, you know, the situation was even very difficult because a lot of people will not even give you their phones to make call. They wouldn't even want you to buy the airtime to make the call. So it was a very difficult one until finally the security agencies came. They arrested every one of us around that sea coast. They arrested everyone. In fact, people tried to escape. Some tried to jump into the water. You know, people tried to run, but wherever you are, they will find you and they will bring you back to the spot. And then they took us to a detention center, Garian. After a few days, they also took us from there to Tripoli, Terigmata Detention Center. So it was in Terigmata that the International Organization for Migration came visiting, and then some UN agencies, once they come around, they check on us. Whenever they are coming, these Libyan agents, policemen, they will ask us, they will give us so many things. You wouldn't even know if it is the UN guys that brought it, but when they are gone, they will lock us up back again. When they come around, we'll do sports, they will bring us out. It's as if we are enjoying our lives. When those guys are gone, we'll go back to the prison, they lock us up again and all of that. So IOM came, we all filled forms, those who want to go back home, because a lot of people said they are not going. Those ones that didn't go did what they call banamish. You pay, someone pays for you, like someone will come around, pay, yes, kind of bill them, pay the money, take you out of the prison, and then you work for the person. So I almost tried that, but a particular lady, she's from Delta, so she speaks my language. And then she told me that if I pay this money, in fact, she used our language to tell me, Idama Yangoso. That is, if you try this, you just die. And then if I remember that she told me that, and if anyone comes to me to say, I want to help you to live here, I would just tell them I'm not interested. I want to go back to Nigeria.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them.
If you no talk, then go beat you.
Now 2,500 they pay.
How can we have peace without justice?
Plus Politics. It's not just another political conversation, it's about keeping you in the know. The relevant interviews, asking the tough questions to those that matter. Get the answers you need.
Does it mean that the people who were injured, people who were shot at, those who were involved in that stampede are not going to get justice?
It is unfortunate, it is sad that we have a government of deaf and dumb.
Analysis from top experts.
The last election was not really an election.
We feel that Obasanjo has a very special place in his heart for hating Ijaw people.
I think it really boils down to two things. One, trust and accountability.
Plus Politics, every weeknight at 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
You're welcome to TW Conversation. In this lounge, we discuss topics of interest to us that concerns the rest of the world, but we give you our take. So today, we're going to talk about the big party culture. You know, we like to say that Nigerians love to party, but I also remember Lord Lugard's quote about Nigerians years ago. And a lot of Nigerians hate to hear it or think about it. He said all those years ago that I don't think he was talking about just Africans, he was talking about Nigerians, that we love to party, that once you give us merriment, we're happy. But he also said we would not think about the future or plan for the future as long as we have means to party today. So today, here with me in the lounge are my sisters. Right there at my far right is Anne. Anne is a young mother, but she is also what you call a new mom's coach.
New moms.
I think that is good. In the Africa of today or Nigeria of today, we don't have all those old midwives who used to help us with raising little babies. So I think she knows all about it. She's got 2 herself. Next to her is Dion. Dion
Mama D
is a writer. She's a writer, and she loves to read. I'm not quite sure she likes partying, but she will tell you all about it.
In this all is regalia. Check out this abaya.
And next to me is baby Omoye. Omoye, I call her my baby.
Yes, I'm your baby.
Yes, she's not necessarily the youngest in the house, but she's an actress. She's a very serious media person. And I am very impressed with her, sheer love and passion for what she does. You should hear her recite poems.
Oh.
And of course, it's Adesua Oyenokwe. She's my sister. She's a producer. All I ever think about when I see her is the microphone. I've known her with the microphone for years, but I've experienced her recently as a producer. So we'll be back. And myself, my name is Fumi Oyetunji. Before you go.
I foresee.
I join my sisters in the lounge regularly. So when we come back, you shall get our take about the big party culture.
Go party. Go party.
Welcome back to the lounge. So before we left, we told you that we're going to be talking about the big party culture in Nigeria. So I want to know, what is a big party? What actually categorizes a big party?
This is where you get dressed like this. Because this is definitely not me.
Huh.
Yes, so...
Well, you have to wear this for parties.
Yes. I bought it for a party, actually. It was bought for me for a party. So this is where you get dressed like this. It's expensive. Look at those blinking things on the chest. Oh, goodness. What's the big party to you?
The big party, it's growing by the minute in Nigeria. The parties are getting bigger. You know the ones I'm talking about.
I don't.
Huge halls. A few bands.
Few bands?
Not one band. Not one band.
Different bands.
Different bands, you know that.
Like three bands in a wedding.
Yes. And then where there are, like 8-course meals.
Yeah.
Right at the end of the day, new things are just being brought in.
Food is not
when
bad,
people.
So food,
it's a good idea.
Party, though, I'm just thinking, is it the food, or because I went for a party recently and someone was like, that party was big, and the reason why the person said this because when we got, it was a baby dedication. When we got in, we had like rice or fada, a different mix. After we finished, we're like, do you want cocktails, mocktails? When we finished, do you want soft drinks as well? Do you want small chops? When we finished, there was ice cream, there was
baby
cake,
dedication.
there was baby dedication.
No.
Just before we left,
It's
someone
a
just said, have you
baby
eaten abacha before? There's abacha. And I'm like,
okay. I think this is where, you remember, there was once, our president, his daughter got married. And then they gave out those LV cases, right? There was, the Glow Adenuga wedding that they had, they gave her gold-plated, what do you call it, iPad at one point in time. So I think at the end of the day, a big party is a function of how many people are there, how much food is served, how good the goodie bag is. You know, at the end of the day, you're talking about money.
So you can have a party of only 100 guests, and it's a big party still, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, it's not about the numbers. It's about the quality. Vintage champagne, top of the range, or has a case. 6.
So are we defining big party here?
By money?
Yes, I think numbers. I get some invitation cards, and I ask my husband, have we just been invited because we happen to be on his contact list? So when not because I don't know them, but I didn't expect to be invited in that way. So when 1,000 people are invited and they say prepare for feeding, 1,500. And the two sides of the weddings are inviting 450 each and things. Those are huge parties.
Hello, sisters. We keep talking. Is it only in weddings that these things happen?
No, she just said maybe dedication, many strange things.
Any opportunity.
Graduation.
Actually, any opportunity
Funerals
Nigerians
as well have become really big.
Oh God, that's really, really annoying.
Really big.
I say to my mom all the time, she says, that she's going to leave money aside because she doesn't trust her children. We're very able. She's going to leave money aside, she'll pick her coffin, she will already have the graveside thingy, but she will leave money for the party. I said, when you are gone, how do you know how we're going to spend the money?
You don't know.
I'm not buying a cow for anybody. If she doesn't eat the cow now that she's alive, nobody's eating any cow when she dies.
So are we saying that this thing is irrelevant?
For me,
no, but there's a
depends.
Proverb that somebody said, I'm not sure if I sound it right, correct me if I'm wrong, but Shilere. What does that mean?
Well, somebody has said it before while we were discussing. And it's meant to really mean, there is an advantage to, or they have some advantage or gain from going around partying. That's, a gain. It's gain. So they gain there is a gain from it.
Which is the point I'm making. There can be a case for a big party. It depends on you.
So what is the gain?
What is the gain? I'm trying to understand, yes.
Take, for example, maybe your first daughter or your only daughter or maybe a baby. You know the reason why you're celebrating. If you have the money, so what's wrong with celebrating?
Thank you. I'd like to speak to that point. You did say that I'm an accountant. Because I've heard so many people say, why can't they have that party? They have the money for it. But I'm going to go in just 2 directions. I already said one when I quoted Lord Lugard.
What is that one?
It's the fact that we just spend money on merriment. Okay? So there's that. And I believe that the fact that you have money, partying is not necessarily where to expend it. You might tell me that because you're the owner of the money, you can choose. But let me give you what I just came back from a philanthropic forum in South Africa. Okay. And a non-African came on stage, and she had a point. They're one of these donor bodies
like
that donates seriously to Africa. And she said, you know what? There's enough capital, there's enough money in Africa. But the average African, is simply not philanthropic.
Exactly.
True.
Because
that
money would be put to better use throwing a party. I think even if you had all the money that you had and you wanted to throw a party just for the sake of it, I believe that Nigeria is in such a state that you shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Yes. That it is insensitive.
It is insensitive.
It is actually insensitive. I believe so.
In a day.
Yes, I believe so.
You know what you would do? Go and pay the press. Let them cover you, giving out all that money to a good cause.
Should I really?
I won't even begrudge you.
Jebu, and the people were taking leftovers.
Yes, people do.
I stopped. I said, what's he trying to do?
They're
begging for. No, but why is
taking food?
I said, why didn't the caterer give them food? Because there was some more food.
Yes.
No, they're not the ones.
But they're taking.
No, they're not.
leftovers
It's
in
not for
bags.
them. It's not for them. Is that fair?
Well, for me, I actually believe that if you're going to spend the money, for me, my take is that you should plan it well.
So recently I went for a party and I know that this woman spent money. I want to believe that when you spend money, you should get the value for it. So she spent money on this child's first birthday, and then the party was supposed to start at 3. I got there at past 5 thinking I was late. And then I got there and the celebrants hadn't arrived and people had been there since 3 o'clock, so the place was a mess. When I got there, I saw guys pulling up their hands. A friend of mine was like, and you have to put your hand in the drum to get water by yourself.
So you said they spent a lot of money?
She spent money, but she didn't get the value for that money because it was scattered, disorganized, lying that she spent that money. I could see the value of the place already.
Do you believe in big party, you just don't like them not well orchestrated?
If you have the money, my sister,
on the same page, my dear, because it's your
But make sure that you get value for that money that you have spent. Let it be something let people enjoy it. Let people have... So, if everybody's fighting for food at your party, I don't know. I know that sometimes you can't really help these things, but, man, if I spend money, let me see the money I spend.
So, but is it more rampant, though? Does anybody have experience about literally every party now? Everybody wants to outdo the other.
Yes, that's the trend. Yes,
that's the trend.
If you're in the event management business, what they tell you, because I've worked in that industry for years, is that they say, what did that last person do? Top it. Yes. Oh, what cake did they have last time? Top it. I want them to see it from far. You know, you're looking and thinking, I know you're going to get the money, but please, come on.
Yes.
But she's
business
for you. No, but they're going to eat it that day and forget now.
Some people say that the event planners are actually the ones that make you like go up.
No, it's the clients.
I've heard that. And
it's both.
Let me ask you, is it everything you're offered that you actually take? So it also adds to the fact that is the Nigerian gullible? I'm not saying so, I'm asking. Is the Nigerian gullible, or the event planner just plays on the fact that the Nigerian wants to top the last one? So it's about the kind of people we are. Yeah. And my biggest problem, Adesua, I love to party. I'm not that wet. I'm not that wet. I'm not that wet. My question is, how enjoyable are some of those parties as parties?
I don't understand.
Some of those parties are no fun. Give you an example. There's a wedding. You go to a wedding, and most weddings these days are just an event featuring Tola and Tunde. The couple don't even have a good time at their wedding because it's a production.
They don't know how to.
And everybody has to be at their positions on cue. This has to happen. Then the chandelier. Then the lights, the smoke. Then the bride and groom now drop from somewhere. They're suspended. They come down. Nobody has a good time. It's just a show. How about you curate an enjoyable event, create activities so that everybody at the party has a good time.
So
if you even spent money on that, we'll say, okay, we understand.
Are you saying that it's never justifiable to do a big party?
I wouldn't say that it's never justifiable. However,
give me instances of times that it's justifiable to spend the money.
You like enjoyment, this girl. I'm going to
No, she's the new generation that has met the big party culture. And she doesn't know otherwise.
No, but Owambe in Yoruba land, I won't say.
Yes.
Owambe has always been there.
But like you said,
Ashwebi has always been there.
Simple party trending up.
What is that Simi song there? Is that not the way of life?
No, the chief proponent of the okay, let me ask you. I went to a wedding party recently. Huge hall. We must have been over 1,000. Okay, wife side, husband side. One side, their family, they were very disciplined, so they didn't invite too many people. So their side was very comfortable. In our side, you couldn't get up from your chair. How they packed it tight to contain us. You couldn't get up from your chair. And I'm just thinking, after a few hours, I'm just thinking, I'm not having fun. Can
I get you.
And then the fights that happen.
For the
gifts. No. Apart from the gifts, have you seen bride and groom, bride's mother and fights? What color they are going to put on the cake? What color is going to be in the hall? No, we have more money. We are spending more. We get to say what you guys will do. You know, there's all that whole drama. Why?
I think that you should just, if you have some family drama. I didn't like it. Why? I didn't like some parts of it. I liked some parts. I didn't like some parts. I felt like there's many people there. I had over 1,000 guests. I felt like if we had less people, we would have had more fun. I had so many people dragging me from saying, I don't know me. You don't know me. Your daddy's cousin, sister's brother. Sorry, auntie. Someone even told me, because it's your wedding, your eye is here, you cannot see us again. No problem.
Okay,
so
that's why you are not coming to my wedding.
No, we must come.
You mean at your wedding, people were talking like that?
Yes,
I would
even. No, but I think, okay, I think that it's a question of who's doing what. If it's a wedding, for example, what we're having now is that parents take over the wedding, right? So because they have these huge numbers and they want to show off. Yes. I mean, my niece got married recently. Come on, man.
You're not moving on to our side.
No.
They want to show off.
It is
so that's the whole point.
No, what I'm telling you is that people reserve the right to show off if they want to.
Okay, what about the funeral?
That's what I'm saying.
I went to a funeral in Benin, and this man apparently was a bit of a lad. So he had children with 7 different women.
That's our style.
Wait,
sister.
So each child had each child had a canopy, and they had ashwebi.
That's how we do it.
We were with the bona fide children that they know. We didn't even feature. Each person was trying to show his my daddy. So
okay, ladies, can I ask my initial question because I contributed this topic? So let me ask that exact question, and I would like to hear from you all. Big party culture. Celebration or waste? Considering, I want to help you. Considering we've already said how the bride did not enjoy herself. She was people were actually threatening her about when her eyes calmed down.
Exchange of rings and the kiss the bride.
The auntie of the bride.
And the auntie of the bride who has talked about show off.
What's he
and
saying?
I beg you, my brother didn't show off.
Plenty. Okay. And some people who have said they don't even enjoy the thing. Okay, we won't go to Dion. Dion just doesn't like parties.
And she's dressed like this. I will take you up.
It's an irony.
I need people to tell me, from what we are doing as a people now, is it celebration? Mark the word celebration.
Oh, okay.
It's not show off. It's not. Is it celebration or is it waste?
Waste.
Celebration.
Come see, come sir.
No, let me say
You're the
why.
deciding factor now.
Well, celebration means that you're celebrating with people like you, people
Exactly.
who you connect with,
Yes.
your people. If it's a celebration. So if you invite me when I'm only just that person down the road that you only see twice a year,
On the contact list.
then it's a waste. You know, but I enjoy
So
parties
it's
that
context. No. There's no way to It's context. At the end of the day, that you're saying that it's context. Because the truth is, if I want to have a party and it's only 10 people, I can still spend 10 million naira, 1 million.
Why?
No, so that's not the question. So that's what I'm saying. So it's context. Yes, I can buy each of them in Rolex.
I think the question then, honestly, we just need to consider it from our cultural point of view.
Yes.
What culture? Nigerian culture? African culture?
The Queen's grandchildren, did you think their wedding didn't cost money? You know, so let's not bring everything to money. Because we are not envious of those who have the money and can put up a classy show.
Sure.
Okay? But what we are asking is, by the way, have you also heard that some of the people who put up the big party have borrowed to put up the
That's a problem.
That's a perfect place for us to get to take a break. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Must we take a break?
Welcome back to the lounge. Just before we went off, we were speaking about borrowing money to throw this big party. Is that justifiable or no?
I asked the question, so I'm listening.
Sorry, I'm looking for something
Borrowing
to eat
money,
inside this bag.
So borrowing money is never justifiable if it's not going to make more money, as far as you're concerned.
Sure.
Is that the perspective from which you're coming from?
It's not about it making more money.
Like
You
borrowing
have
money to start a
no
business.
business getting into debt
Okay, on any grounds.
for a show-off day.
Okay.
What if it was to give your parents a befitting?
What is a befitting?
What is a befitting burial?
What if they have told you? What if that was a dying
Like
wish?
Beyonce's
My mother
mom.
has told me
So
she's not
they
So they would
wish.
have put the monies aside.
Would you
So
spend
you
it even if
didn't-
they put it
so,
aside?
No. Then you would not have borrowed.
Okay.
You would not have needed to borrow.
Okay.
So, but anyway,
So no. Does anybody think it's justifiable to borrow money for a
no,
party?
at least I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I don't agree.
But a lot of people do, especially people that are on the lower end of the financial
No,
economy.
I met a photographer recently.
Don't imagine.
In fact,
too.
on the cover of TW magazine, the last one we did what we did in November, when was it? September edition. No. August edition of the magazine, July-August edition. We had a commission with men. One of them was a photographer. And his biggest concern is what happens at weddings. And he has seen grooms who will hire limousine many limousines or all kinds of money to make the party happen.
So big.
And then they have not paid the rent.
Yes.
That is not good.
Thank you. Can I also ask you something, Anne? Because, as an accountant, you can borrow from the back and pretend you're borrowing for something else. If you're sitting there and your business owes money in the bank and the bank is running after you, okay?
No business
for
having a
they say, so the money you have put aside for the rainy day, you use it for the party. You have inadvertently borrowed money for this party.
Yes.
How? Because you owe the bank. Even if you have cash, even if you have money.
Personal cash.
But you owe, and they're running after you. They're asking you to come and pay. And this, you've heard, I'll give you a little one that happened with a banker MD, who I love. Because he met somebody, in quotes, he met somebody in the first class cabin. The story has gone around in the banking sector. We know the one that did it, and we know that we know he would do it. Met somebody in the first class cabin on the plane, and this person has owed, and they've chased, and nothing.
I'll jack you up, man. Nobody give me my money. I'm not like this.
And then he just goes, "Madam, my people report back."
It's a woman?
Yes. Everybody does this thing. Says, everybody, my people are frustrated by how you run your account. You're flying first class, really? And, so you borrow money to do business, you borrow money you don't pay back.
So what you're saying therefore is that sometimes we overplay our hand just to show off. That's what the problem is. Because you're talking about, is it celebration or waste?
Overplaying your hand means,
put it mildly,
your money that you have, that you basically are going into debt for party.
But some people earn a living from this industry.
Good. That's another side of the balance sheet.
It's feeding some people. So why kill the culture if it's putting food on so many tables?
Okay, are we killing the culture of party?
Food on their table with
I know. Well, people earn money. Okay, you have some people, like caterers. I've seen it happen to caterers a lot because their money is usually like a huge chunk. Yes. So what they say, the owner of the person having the party will say, "Okay, I've paid you 70%. You take the last 30% at the wedding from the money that's sprayed to us."
Sometimes they never get paid the 30%.
No, they take the money that's sprayed to them. Then the caterer comes and dances, and they act like they're spraying somebody too. So the caterer is dressed properly, and they spray her balance.
They are just about
style. That's a matter of style.
Yeah, close your mouth.
It is not a matter of style. It is
an
total.
Insult.
No, it's total pretense, and
rubbish.
Actually, it's almost fraudulent. It's almost fraudulent.
No, but this Lagos, Sha.
If they don't spray that,
there's nothing you will not hear.
No, it's ridiculous. Well, Lagos is the biggest culprit, Sha.
I would like you to actually, because I don't want this accountant mind. I would like you to speak to the point that because some people feed from the big party culture, therefore, should we be partying just because? Is this philanthropy now?
No, you said it's job creation. No, it's not job creation. Now, while jobs have been created and people can earn a living, they shouldn't extort people just so that they can earn a living.
Yes.
You can still be an event planner and make a decent sum on a decent party.
They are playing on people's weaknesses.
It's exploitation. It's exploitation.
They don't force you to do it now.
No, they inspire you to do it.
Let me tell you.
They give you incentives.
Yeah, but it's the loss of the person.
Yes.
It's the loss of the person. So
we feed your
now, we could go on forever about these parties. So I'm going to have to go around, ladies, and I want each of you to tell me in not longer than 2 sentences what you think is the state of play about big parties and what we should be encouraging.
Can I go first?
Go first.
Hey, now wow. As far as I'm concerned, for me, the big party has relevance for as long as the person that is doing it can afford it and doesn't kill herself in the process. Don't owe a debt, but if you can afford it, please do it. Because first, it's giving people a job. Secondly, you get satisfaction from celebrating and giving people. So I think if it's good for you, go ahead.
Well, I think you shouldn't be ostentatious. I think also that if you spend money on a party, just make sure that you're enjoying it and you're getting your money's worth.
You plus your guest.
Yes, but also remember that we shouldn't always be superfluous and ostentatious all the time.
Okay. Yeah. For me, I would say if you can afford it, have it. Life is for the living. You can only, you're going to only live once in this life.
YOLO.
Parties are an opportunity for you to meet so many people and bond and build friendships and all of that, for me. So if you're going to make sure you're getting your value for it and you're having fun while at it, if you have the money spending, if you don't, please don't borrow. Well. Plan it well. Do not borrow, please. It's never, ever worth it at the end. People are going to go home and forget the party. You're going to live in debt for a long time.
I'm going to borrow this at Bayasha.
For the next party.
10 million for a party, 10 million for a good holiday in the Bahamas. Holiday.
So it's about priorities.
Priorities for me, yes.
Yeah.
Holiday. I'd rather do that.
Personally, how I see it is that there is room for philanthropy. And we are not represented in the philanthropy. As long as we are not represented in the philanthropic space as much as we need to, considering the amount of money in our hands, I think it's a bit insensitive, I believe.
Yes.
And then the question is, big party, celebration or waste? The question is, if it's a celebration and we are in this party and we can see celebration, people are not fighting, people are not sitting on top of each other, and people can go away thinking they've had a good time, then it's a good party. We should never borrow to have a party. So next time you're having your wonderful party, I'll be there to attend.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. From the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
The hair industry is a multi-million naira business in Nigeria. The industry has experienced impressive growth in recent years. From the sale of hair extensions, wigs, and hair care products, it is a huge market and it is largely buoyed by patronage from women. Women are mostly identified by their hair, but does that mean without hair they have no identity? Definitely not. There is a condition called alopecia. It causes the partial or complete absence of hair from areas of the body where it normally grows. And for women who have it, they experience baldness. We met an alopecian, Jasmine Oguns, who shared her story with us.
Alopecia is an autoimmune disease, but we alopecians like to define it as an autoimmune condition, so we don't scare people. So alopecia is an autoimmune condition that happens when the immune system attacks the hair follicles, thereby causing partial or total hair loss. You know, the immune system is actually supposed to protect us from germs, diseases, and sickness. But in this case, the immune system attacks the hair follicles because it sees the hair follicles as a stranger to the body system, so it attacks it. And once the hair follicles get attacked, then there's a problem in the roots of hair growth. Yeah, so that's where hair loss starts from. I started having hair loss in 2004. That was my first year in school, in higher institution. Before then, I used to have very long hair, like very beautiful hair. And a particular day, I went to the salon and my hairstylist noticed a bald patch behind my head, just around here. It was very tiny, very insignificant, but she noticed it because she has been making my hair for a long time. Yeah, so she noticed it and called my attention to it, but I didn't pay so much attention to it because I felt it was a minor thing and my hair was going to grow back. So after 2 weeks, I went back to make my hair. She noticed another one on this side. She called my attention to it again, so I became scared. I informed my mom about it, and my mom also didn't see it as a big issue. She just said it would grow back. And after a while, the patches started increasing, and they started forming a map on my scalp. I stopped going to the salon to make my hair. It became a thing of concern, and someone told my mom it was lakpa caused by dandruff. But then I didn't have dandruff, so where did it come from? So she got sulfur, started applying sulfur on the scalp, but instead of it to get better, it got worse. That was how the alopecia journey started for me. How I knew it was alopecia. Okay, before I got to that point, it was the whole journey. Because after the lakpa episode, there was always an extended family member who would come up with one name or the other. In fact, it metamorphosed to spiritual problem. So they tagged it a spiritual problem. I know in this part of the world, anything we don't know is automatically a spiritual problem. So that was when the frustration started. They started taking me from one pastor to another, and because most of these people, they're about what they can get into their pockets, they second, you know, and it was really traumatizing, you know, and I didn't know until after 10 years. Yeah, I didn't know it was alopecia until after 10 years. So I'll share a bit of my experience in that journey. First, some pastors said someone took my hair to the ocean. That's why I don't have hair. But there are some sacrifices here and there that we could perform that would make my hair grow. So I had times that I killed cows. I had times that I killed chickens. There were times we just give out the cows raw, like the meat, the pieces, you know, raw like that. There were times we cook and feed people with it, just in the quest for my hair to grow back. And there were other ugly experiences I had too, ugly encounters I had of some spiritual men asking to have some form of intimacy with me before my hair could grow. Like, it was really traumatizing. It was annoying. It was frustrating because at some point I got depressed and I I got to meet with a dermatologist who introduced some hairsprays to me that I used. It didn't work. And the moment I stopped using the spray, my hair fell off. In fact, at this point, I now lost my hair completely because the spray did not work. You understand? So it triggered some other hormones, and then I lost my hair completely. So I became completely bald. You know, initially it was just in patches, and then after applying those sprays, I lost my hair completely. And I used that spray for a period of 1 year and 6 months. And at that time, a spray cost 15,000 naira. So I must use a can, like I must buy a new can every fortnight. It was a fortnight thing. I was buying a new can every fortnight, and I administered it for 1.5 years. But instead of it to get better, it got worse. And I still did not stop. I wanted the solution. I wanted my hair back. So I approached another dermatologist who placed me on a wrong medication. And because I was so desperate, I didn't even bother to ask, what is this thing you're placing me on? What is this medication for? I didn't know it was using me as a specimen. For every time I got 0.1 mg, I took 5 as a dose. For every time I got 0.5 mg, I took 10 as a dose. So that was an abuse. And I discovered that my memory was diminishing. So at that point, I had to stop. But it had already caused some damage, and I became depressed, and I became suicidal as well. So at some point I became suicidal. I almost died because I made a suicidal attempt. But thank God my mother was at home on that particular day and she saved me. So it has been from one bad encounter, one bad experience to another until 2015 when I decided I was going to do a personal research to know what exactly my problem was. And that was how I stumbled on the word alopecia on the internet. And I realized it was a condition, or it is a condition, like what I've been going through actually has a name, and the name is alopecia. So that was how I got to know that the condition is alopecia. I started embracing myself in 2015. Yeah, that was when I did the personal research that I became aware. And okay, I stumbled on a particular lady's story online and I started following her up. Her daughter has alopecia, and I saw the way she instilled confidence in her daughter at every stage that her daughter was encountering. Like, it started with bald patch. From one bald patch, it increased to patches, and then she lost almost everything, and there were just few strands of hair left. I saw the way she would pack the hair into ponytail and go everywhere with it, you know. So I admired that. But I noticed that while I was doing my research, I didn't really see much of black people with the same condition. There were more of white people. And within me, I resolved that I could be a strength to other people, especially black people who are going through this same experience, who are experiencing the same thing. Because looking back to how my journey started, it wasn't funny. And at that point, I knew there were people who were going through worse situation than what I went through. So I decided I was going to be a voice to other people. I was going to stand my ground and create awareness. Though in the process of doing that, I opened up to a few persons, media personnel, who did not really understand my story, and they made a mess of it because I wanted to do a come out video, you get? So they made a mess of it and turned it to a comedy skit. That was when I knew there's really no bad publicity, because that was when I met my deputy, Moshudat Badmus. I was really sad about it because the whole thing went bad for me. You know, it went viral. A lot of people saw it. A lot of people misunderstood the message because they actually did not pass the message right. A lot of people misunderstood it. So it went sour, and she came online, saw the ridicule and everything, and she started fighting for me. So she was like the voice I didn't have at that downtime, at that point in time. So I approached her and I was like, you seem to know about alopecia. Do you have alopecia? She said yes. He needed to see the joy that I felt that day. Like, I didn't feel that kind of joy in 10 years. I was so excited. I was so happy. I contacted her immediately. We started talking, and before you knew it, I was on my way to, then she was in Ogun State. I was on my way to Ogun State from Kaduna. I took a trip to Ogun State just to meet her because, you know, it was relieving for you to see someone or know that there's someone who can relate, you know, to whatever it is you were going through. Because before then, people around me could not understand. There were times I wanted to talk. I wanted to just, you know, explain how I was feeling, but I didn't have people to talk to, because even when I talk, they don't understand. You understand? It was more like a mental thing for me. But when I met her, it was relieving. I felt so much relief because she could relate. Yeah, she understood where I was coming from, and that was how the foundation journey started.
The National Alopecia Areata Foundation states that alopecia affects about 147 million people in the world, and according to Africa Prime News, there are over 100,000 persons living with alopecia in Nigeria.
It has not been easy running the Heroic Alopecia Foundation because, okay, one thing is for people to know what their condition is. Another thing is for them to come out, right? So, like I said, when I met Moshodat, that was when the foundation journey started. Though I'd already started single-handedly before I met her, and then we took the race together, and we continued the race. Then some other members joined, and we grew to about 13 members, and in the process, we got to know more. We got to know that alopecia is actually a journey. You get, some would accept the fact that this is what it is. Some may never accept it. But it's a good thing that you are aware that this is what the problem is, right? And we realize that a lot of people are out there suffering that don't know what this condition is. And they really need to know, because if you know that you have a problem and you know what that problem is, I think your problem is half solved already. So what we do basically is try to reach out to people, try to create awareness. Thanks to BBC Pidgin, I was featured on BBC Pidgin last year, and as a result of that publicity, our member strength grew from 13 to 70. Yeah, so right now we have 70 members. Majority are Nigerians. We have few of them in Ghana, some in Sierra Leone, Cameroon, Senegal, America, London. So we still feel there's a need for us to create more awareness. Because if you'd ask for my opinion, I would say only 2% of people in Nigeria are aware of this condition called alopecia. I think a lot has to be done, a lot needs to be done concerning awareness. There was a training I went for recently at Nikkei Art Gallery, and on the first few days of the training, I didn't go with my wig. I didn't wear my wig, and nobody really paid attention to the fact that I don't have hair. I only got comments like, your hairstyle is nice, and because of what I went there for, I didn't have that time to explain to them that it's not a hairstyle, but it's a health condition. Until after 5 days, I decided to wear my wig. So I went there with a wig, and after a while, I started feeling uncomfortable with my wig on, so I removed it. And people were like, it's better. You look better without your wig than with your wig. So another question popped up from someone else, that why the hairstyle? What inspired the hairstyle? And I told them it's not a hairstyle, but it's a health condition. So that got a lot of people's attention, and they're like, oh really, it's a health condition, tell us about it. So while I was talking, I heard whispers of two persons arguing about one Tope somewhere that has a similar condition, and the other person said, no, it's not the same. Tope's case is spiritual. You know, they were arguing in their dialect, in Kaba, actually. So I heard and I paused and asked, why did you say Tope's condition is spiritual? He said, because hers is not completely off like mine. She has patches and all. I said, yes, the patch is a form of alopecia, actually. Like, there are different types of alopecia. Hers is alopecia areata. That's the medical term for her condition. And they're like, oh, really? I said, yes. So I went as far as explaining to them that there's also a condition called alopecia totalis, where it's just limited to the head alone. You know, the hair loss is limited to the head alone. And I also explained about alopecia universalis, where the victim loses the lashes, the brows, and every other part of the body that has hair. And they were amazed. So when they told me a lot about Tope, I told them I was interested in meeting Tope. But guess what? Tope is dead. Tope died as a result of isolation. Tope died as a result of stigmatization. I also heard of the story of one woman in Benue State that died as a result of stigmatization. She was tagged a witch because her hair stopped growing, and she was isolated, far away from people. You know, they stopped giving her food, and that was how she died. I also heard of some girls in Benin who were constantly tied and flogged with broom because they have alopecia. And at the moment, we have two parents in Kaduna who are representing their sons because they are kids. One is 6 years old, the other one is 7. There's this belief in the north, when strange things happen to you, they just assume you have Anjonu, like a spiritual problem, like evil spirits. I think Anjonu is evil spirits. And they kept burning their scalps with fire, that they are chasing away the Anjonu, until they met me. Someone actually told me about them, and I went to visit the family. So when I got there and I removed my wig, I saw the relief. You know, there was this sigh of relief that, oh, okay, so this thing is not happening to our son alone. There are other people who have this thing, and it's a medical condition. You understand? So a lot needs to be done concerning awareness.
Alopecia can affect anyone regardless of age and gender, and in many cases, it takes a toll on their relationships.
To an extent, alopecia has affected my relationship with people, because I remember back then in school, when it started at first, I didn't start covering it immediately. I still rocked it, and after a while, I started covering it with a scarf. And my friends were surprised, like, when did you start covering your hair? You were not like this, what's the problem? And some of them just tried to be naughty and they pulled the scarf off. And when they realized that there was something strange about my head, some gave space. The naughty ones tagged it a name. Some started calling me an alien. Like when I applied the spray and everything fell off, like I lost every strand of hair on my body. I'm talking about my lashes, my brows, every part of my body. I didn't have hair. I had a friend who was constantly calling me an alien, like to my face, and people would laugh about it. It became embarrassing at some point. And then relationship, yeah, I had a major relationship then that failed as a result of alopecia, because my supposed to-be mother-in-law called off the wedding introduction, 3 days to the wedding introduction, because of fear of the unknown. You know, she didn't want a situation whereby our grandchildren would have hair loss problem. So she called off the wedding introduction, not minding how far we had gone, and then the preparation for the event and all that. Then the last disappointment I got to was as a result of alopecia, because I went for a consultation with the person I was dating at that time, and he heard all the medical advice I got about me. Like the dermatologist advised that I should not bother myself, because at this stage, at this point, the hair loss has really it has gotten to an advanced stage where my hair might not grow anymore, you understand? So he heard all of that, and his countenance changed on our way home. So out of curiosity, I tried to question him about his mood and everything, and he said he's scared, doesn't want to raise kids that would not have hair. So to a great extent, alopecia has affected my relationship with people. Alopecia has really affected my family in a lot of ways. Like my mom, right now, she still does not accept the fact that it is a medical condition. She's yet to come to terms with the fact that it's a medical condition. She still feels that there's more to it and the hair would grow. Yes, the hair could grow because alopecia actually has a mind of its own. The way it decides to go off, like the way your hair decides to go off, it could just decide to start growing overnight. That's another mysterious thing about alopecia, because it has to do with your immune system. So your immune system might just decide, okay, I want to be good, I want to be perfect, and then your hair starts growing again, you understand? So it has really affected my family, because I remember when I didn't know what it was, I was constantly being stigmatized, because my mother would always have a scarf or a cap or something beside her. And the moment someone knocks at the door, she's throwing it at me to cover my head. I didn't like that part. I didn't like the fact that I could not just be myself, you know, and feel free like every other person. I didn't like the fact that I have to always cover my head, you know. And another thing is, it became a prayer request. Like till now, it's still a prayer request. Everyone is always praying at some point, at one point or the other, for my hair to grow back. Yeah, so it has really affected my family, not just me.
1 in 20 people with alopecia also has a family member who has experienced the condition, which implies that most people that have alopecia usually don't have family members with this condition.
I'm not too sure that the awareness is really there. Having said so, I mean, if we think about the patients who come into the clinic, alopecia is, at least what I would say, some studies have shown that is one of the top 10 dermatology consultations. And because the world is generally getting more visual, everybody's more concerned about appearance, and we talk about quality of life and all this. So you're seeing a lot more patients coming in. They're coming in. Areata in itself, a lot of people don't know. I don't think the awareness is really, really there. But remember that when you are dealing with a specialty, so if we talk in the general population, maybe no, but if you come into the specialty community, specialty hospital, we'll see we have a bit, a high enough number of cases. But I would say if you just ask for the general population, no. And so to the next question of how can we make them more aware of what you're doing? If we have people who suffer from, I remember that because of the stigma of alopecia, everybody knows that a woman's hair is supposed to be like her crowning glory. She wants to do things with it. She wants to look well. You don't really want to cover it. But with wigs and weaves, nobody knows who has what. Now, a lot of women will just take it out. So you don't know who has a problem because of the stigma or the quality of life. Very, very significant impact on the quality of life. So people are hiding. People are not able to get, and some people go to those who don't really know what to do. Some people, the salon, the hairstylist, who should almost be like your first sort of, oh, madam or girl, as the case may be, what's happening to your hair? Do you think you need to see somebody? Most times they might give you their own version of what they think works, and the hair loss is worsening. Where ideally, if you present early enough in alopecia areata, you may just be able to break that autoimmunity.
Alopecia often develops suddenly over the course of just a few days. This condition affects the mental health of the victims and sometimes makes them withdrawn.
Dealing with stigmatization before I became aware was not easy. I had days that I cried. I had days I didn't want to see anybody. Like, I locked myself up in the room for days, for weeks. There were days I didn't want to see my immediate family members, my downtime and all, as a result of stigmatization. Like I mentioned earlier, that there was a time I was depressed. It was as a result of stigmatization, because I felt stigmatized by everybody, even those that were close to me. You know, at every point in time, I was expecting people to show me love. So at every moment that I don't, at every time that I don't get that kind of love that I expect, you know, I feel stigmatized. So it was really ugly for me. But the moment I got to know that this is what it is, I became free. You know, I got some form of liberty, I got some form of liberation, and I don't get stigmatized anymore. So when people try to mock me now, I just laugh at their ignorance. And if I have the opportunity to educate them, I don't hesitate.
Alopecia can cause a lot of anxiety and sadness. It is important we have more support groups in the society to help people living with alopecia deal with the psychological effects of this condition.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers. You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from Plus TV Africa. Good afternoon. I am Messi Bopo with the news update. Students have commenced mass mobilization across states, including Lagos, Ilorin, Imo, against the continued strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, and non-teaching staff unions. According to flyers seen trending on social media platforms, students in Lagos will gather at Yaba for action. In Kwara, students will gather at the University of Ilorin Gate on Tuesday, while in Imo State University, students will also protest on Wednesday. On social media, hashtags such as End ASU strike, hashtag FGend ASU strike now topples Twitter trends. Nigerian airline operators have issued a notice that with effect from Monday to 9th May 2022, they will shut down their operations due to high cost of aviation fuel, which has hit 700 naira per litre. Traveling public who intend to fly are advised to make alternative arrangements to avoid being stranded at the country's airport. Over time, aviation fuel Jet A1 had risen from 190 naira per litre to 700 naira currently. Meanwhile, the Minister of Aviation, Senator Hadi Sirikar, has begged Nigerian Airline to suspend the planned shutdown of operations from Monday over the high cost of aviation fuel. Nigerian Airlines, under the aegis of Airline Operators of Nigeria, announced plans to shut down operations from Monday due to high cost of aviation fuel. The minister urged the airlines to consider the multiplier effect shutting down operations would have on Nigerians and global travelers. Sirikar urged and assured Nigerians, especially stakeholders, that the Buhari administration remain stoic in its commitment to the creation and sustenance of an environment that promotes the growth of the aviation industry. Meanwhile, the Director General of the Tinubu Support Group, Abdul Mumin Jibrin, has dumped the APC. He announced this via his Twitter handle. He said he would announce his new party as soon as possible. A Lagos-based chartered accountant and APC chieftain, Adebola Shofela, has described his readiness to represent his people as a senator representing Ogun Central Senatorial District. Shofela, during a public declaration in his hometown, Owode, says he was motivated to join the Senate race because of his desire to be better positioned to impact his people. While appreciating the efforts of past representatives the district had produced, he assured the people that he will bring his professional savvy and experience to legislative business in the National Assembly with a promise to maximize employment across the senatorial districts.
During the period of my visit and consultation, of course, I found out that the rules are not good. So we need to have access to the market. Farmers that are harvesting their crops or produce need to be able to get to the market on time so that they can also maximize their returns. So the first thing is that there must be access to the market. The second thing is that we must also be able to improve on the implements and tools. We are doing so much of manual farming. There must be mechanization. And this is by providing them with tools, with machinery, with tractors that will be able to help them to cultivate large acreage. The second thing is that we need to provide for them things like fertilizers, implements, insecticides, so that even when they are actively engaged in farming, right, insects, pests, and other things does not destroy their product. The other thing is that we must be able to provide some level of preservation, even if it's at the local level. Providing freezers will be able to help, and providing like vans that will be able to store their products so that they will be able to maximize their returns and there will be no wastages.
The Ondo State chapter of the All Progressive Congress has advised youth in the Central Senatorial District to shun unnecessary division. This is coming ahead of the party's primary elections in the state.
I just want to advise our youth, and I want to conscientize them that they should come up better, that they should do things by mobilizing at every ward, so that the successes would be for us. We need a good success at this end. And of course, it will be of a good thing for them, to do that at their ward level.
The essence of this garden is we call something pre-primary, that we have a pre-primary engagement with our youth leaders, so that the leaders of the party, we put ourselves together, we engage ourselves with tell ourselves the challenges we will have in our front. We tell ourselves how the party is important. And we tell ourselves the reason why we need to support our party.
In our election, the preparation of the election, I want to advise our youth to be active in the election and to drive themselves as a youth leader, to show their competency, to show their ruggedity in the coming election.
As political parties put price tag on the presidential forms for aspirant, Nigerians react to this amount. That's on our Street Views. Take a listen.
As a people, these are things that we need to take into consideration when making our choice of a party to support or the candidates to support, because there is consequence to such things being put in place. You don't expect someone that pays a huge price and buys from his pocket to actually then not want to recoup that money. Where do they get such money from to buy just a form where it's not guaranteed you're going to win? So, as citizens, we need to be watchful of that and make our decisions.
It's not ideal, especially if you look at what's going on in the country now. 100 million is a lot of money. I don't want to use the word absorb, but it's a lot of money. And the consideration is, for me, is what's the basis? How did you come about 100 million? I think the other parties are doing 40 million, 35. Even 10 million is a lot of money, given the fact that we're looking for a leader now who doesn't necessarily have to have all the way to do financially, but a leader who knows what it is that the country needs or is expected of him.
They are making the money for the party. The party belongs to the money belongs to the party. So you can never say maybe it's wrong or it's right. Because even though they say it's a trillion. If you have the power, you do it, you pay it.
It doesn't make any sense at all. That's too much. At least should have been like 50,000 at least. Actually, that's too much. 100 million, no. 100 million, 100,000, I don't understand. 100 million, no, that's too much. No, it's too much. No.
If a Nigerian, an individual will bring out 100 million from his purse to buy for form to run for the presidency, meaning that he has trillions of naira in his account. Therefore, EFCC is supposed to go there and find out what is working. If you happen to buy the form too, what are you going there to do? You must bring your money back, put your interest before you think of others.
That's ridiculous. In fact, when I heard the news, and I'm wondering, where do they want like genuine people to actually get this kind of money? People that can afford it are people that are actually stealing. The other time, a certain man did a burial and EFCC invited him over to probe him because of the money he spent for the burial. So EFCC should also invite these ones that are able to buy these forms and then probe them and ask them where they got that money from, because you can't tell me it's not it's genuine. Even if it's genuine, when they enter now, they will want to steal and get back that money.
And to other parts of Africa, the president of Ivorian National Assembly, Amadou Soumaoro, has died at the age of 68. The announcement was made by the Ivorian president, Alassane Ouattara. Soumaoro was a figure in Ivorian politics and loyal supporter of President Alassane Ouattara. He was a founding member of the Rassemblement des Republiques, President Ouattara's historic party in 1994. He had been on medical treatment abroad. And outside Africa, Afghanistan Taliban government ordered women to cover their face in public. This is a return to a signature policy of their past hardline rule and an escalation of restrictions that are causing anger at home and abroad. Still on the news, Ukrainian's President Vladimir Zelensky has raised fear over what he termed the return evil to Ukraine. In an emotional-laden message for Victory Day, Zelensky said Ukraine and its allies will win. Europe is commemorating the formal surrender of Germany to the Allies in World War II, the life that soldiers fought for in the war that came to an end on February the 24th when Russian forces invaded. The invasion in Ukraine has killed thousands and displaced people. It has also left Russians in the grip of tough Western sanctions and has raised fear of a wider confrontation between Russia and the West. And in business news, the cost of fuel pump increased from 87 naira, per litre as of December 2015 to 165.77 kobo by December 2021. This is an increase of 90.54%, according to data from the Central Bank of Nigeria. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, said that fuel subsidy gobbled 306.92 billion naira in 2015, and in 2021, the NNPC said fuel subsidy gobbled 1.43 trillion naira, although there was no record for under recovery in January. This means that the cost of fuel subsidy rose by 365.92% within the 6 years period. The World Bank and the International Monetary Fund have decried the continued spending by the Nigerian government on petrol subsidy. And in entertainment news, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has disclosed that the federal government had taken series of action to boost the Nigerian film industry. Mohammed said these are the closing ceremony and award night of 7-day Zuma Film Festival in Abuja. According to him, the trajectory of the Nigerian film industry has been of great concern. He said this single-digit financing has resulted in the Creative Industry Financing Initiative by banks and the Central Bank of Nigeria. He said the ministry had partnered with the Central Bank and Bankers Committee on the renovation of the National Theatre at the cost of $100 million to boost the exhibition revenues of film industry. And in sports news, Tunisia Ons Jabeur won the second and most prestigious title of her career in Madrid on Saturday evening. Jabeur ranked 10th in the world after beating 14th ranked American Jessica Pegula 7-5, 0-6, 6-2 2 weeks before the French Open through May 22nd to June the 5th. The Tunisian becomes the first Arab player to win a WTA 1000 tournament, the most prestigious category after the Grand Slam.
I feel like I can't remember the other one, but I can remember this one very well. It's amazing, very happy. I'm glad that I got the win today. Didn't want to get disappointed again, to be honest with you. But you know, we've been working very hard, and the match today was very difficult, and I'm glad that I pulled the win, and hopefully this will be the opportunity to win many.
After Saturday's win, Jabeur will climb to number 7 in the world on Monday, matching her best ranking from last November. 2 years ago, she became the first Arab player to reach the quarterfinals of a Grand Slam at the 2022 Australian Open. And that's the news update. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do subscribe to YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. I am Messi Boko. Have a great day. There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from Plus TV Africa.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games. Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment of winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
How can we have peace without justice?
Plus Politics. It's not just another political conversation, it's about keeping you in the know. The relevant interviews, asking the tough questions to those that matter. Get the answers you need. Does it mean that the people who were injured, people who were shot at, those who were involved in that stampede are not going to get justice?
It is unfortunate, it is sad that we have a government of deaf and dumb.
Analysis from top experts.
The last election was not really an election.
We feel that Obasanjo has a very special place in his heart for hating Ijaw people.
I think it really boils down to two things. One, trust and accountability.
Plus Politics, every weeknight at 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.